But I think there's something unique and special about the energy of the open and the extra little challenge of it, even though it's just a workout in your same gym with your same buddies that you work out with all the time. Something about it is different. And there's always this magic of the open that like challenge themselves. There's always so many first pull up, first toes to bar, like PRs on cleans or deadlifts or, you know, heavy things, or people by just kind of being pushed or sort of forced into trying something a little outside their comfort zone. They have their eyes open to like, oh my God, I can handle that 35-pound dumbbell. I was fine. I can do those box jumps at that height. It was great.
Which is always like awesome in the moment. And then afterwards like, oh crap, I guess that means I have to do that.
Now I have to do it all the time.
I do those weights now. Damn it.
Now I know how fit I am.
Just come in and participate in the open, you know, because it's no different than any other day at CrossFit. It's just that you have a buddy that you're working with who's going to like count for you. They're going to think for you. They're going to tell you what you need to do. You just have to go through the motions and do the work. And even though it's terrifying at first, it's no different than that first CrossFit class you do where you do it and you're like, okay, that was actually really fun. Like that was totally fine. So don't let it get in your head. Just show up and participate.
I love the open because I love when someone else counts for me. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the next episode of the BRIO in the Box podcast.
Back at it.
Back at it. What are we going to talk about today?
Today we're talking about the Open because it's coming up soon.
It's coming. A few weeks away, less than a month away.
Yeah.
From the Open.
What year is this?
2023.
No, I mean, how many? Where am I? You're in a closet.
David is in a closet in the year 2023.
What? How many Opens has there been?
The first one was 2011.
Okay.
So I think that makes this does the math work out that this is the 12th or 13th year?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think 12th.
I don't even know where I am right now.
Many years. So let's talk about what is the Open. It started back in 2011 was the first year of the Open because they needed a stage of qualification to get to the CrossFit Games. The first CrossFit Games was 2007, and it was just a competition at Dave Castro's ranch, and anybody could show up.
Yeah.
Same thing in 2008. Then it started to get a little like unruly with the number of people that wanted to come. 2009, I believe they had
they did like sectionals.
They did a qualifier from some different areas.
Yeah.
2010, they did sectional events because I remember actually they had two stages. They had a Canada West sectional.
Yeah.
Because I remember judging and I was enormously pregnant with Atlas. Mm-hmm. And then they had a Canadian final. And then, so they, as the competition grew, they had to add more levels of qualification. 2011, the first stage of competition became not a live in-person event, but an online qualifier that you could do anywhere at any affiliate.
Yeah. Even the regional started getting really busy. A lot of people would want to just show up and compete. They weren't necessarily at that level. So they started doing the Open as a way to sort of like be that first level of competition that would weed out the good and the bad and be like, okay, you're going to regionals, you're going to sectionals, whatever.
Yeah. A pre-qualifier kind of thing. So yeah, they call it the Open because it's open to anybody in the world that wants to throw $20 in the ring and put their skills to the test.
And I think it started as a way of sort of like vetting the high level athletes, but it's really grown over the years to be more of just like a community event, you know, something where you can sort of like, it doesn't matter. Like for most of us, the Open is good. We're just going to do that. And that's all we have to worry about. So it's more of just, get together and work out and test yourself on few different workouts.
Yeah. It's this thing that connects the global community of CrossFitters. They estimate, nobody really knows for sure, but millions of people doing CrossFit all around the world. This is the biggest global community CrossFit event.
Yeah.
We all get to play along with the sport of CrossFit and then the fittest continue on and we assume our positions as armchair fans and enthusiasts and then we get to watch the rest of it. But you get to play along and it's the only professional sport where that happens.
Yeah.
You know, and you get to like do a competition alongside, like you're going to see names on the leaderboard, like Noah Olson and Mal O'Brien and, you know, these very fit athletes, Justin Medeiros. You can, for funsies, compare your time to theirs and see and get a real sense, you know, a firsthand feeling of how much fitter they are.
Yeah. If you watch any other sport on TV, like a gymnastics sport, you know, you can watch a routine and be like, oh, wow, that looks really hard. But unless you've actually tried any or all of those movements, you have no idea how hard it is. You can be watching football and be like, ooh, that hit looked like it hurt. But unless you've actually been hit by that 300-pound dude, you have no idea what it's actually like.
I'm never going to get to experience an NFL football game. I'll never know.
The open, like you can do the exact same workout that one of the top athletes in the world does and be like, holy crap, I can't believe they did 3 times as much as I did. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
It is cool. So the open as it exists now, you sign up online, games.crossfit.com. There will be 3 workouts, 3 weeks of competition. The first workout will be released by CrossFit HQ Thursday night, February 16th. So they do like a live announcement. They stream it on YouTube. They post on the games website the exact workout, the movement standards. There's videos that go along with it. There's like a judging card thing that we print out. And then we do the workout at our gym. So we'll do it on Friday nights. We'll find out the workout Thursday. We'll set it all up. We'll do it Friday nights. We call it Friday Night Lights. Anybody can come and do the open workout.
Yep.
There are now RX versions of the workout. CrossFit releases a scaled version. I think they call it the open division. And then a couple years ago, they added a foundations version as well. So there's 3 levels of the workout that you can do. And then there's also age groups. So there's teenage 14 to 15-year-olds, 16, 17. And then there's masters categories in 5-year increments starting at age 35 with scaled down options starting 55 and up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just on a leaderboard with your same 40-year-old people.
So basically you pick whatever version of the workout each week that you need to do, and that's what you do. So it's not that you sign up for a certain division, foundation, scaled, RX. It's just the workout will be released and you say, hey, I can do the full thing. I'm going to do the RX this week. And then the next week comes up and you're like, oh, I can't do that movement. I'm going to do the scaled instead. But then the next week, if you can do the full thing, you can go right back into the RX competition. So it's not that you sign up for a division. They automatically put you into a master's category if you happen to fall into that age group. But otherwise, it's just week by week. What can you do?
Yeah, which I think is cool because then you don't have to commit to one right up front. And it is a good chance to challenge yourself to, if at all possible, try the RX version. Yeah. The way the scoring works on the leaderboard is even 1 rep of the RX version is ranked above 1,000 reps of the scaled version. So if you have it within your realm of skills to do, even if it's harder or slower, you're better off in this instance trying to RX the workout.
Yeah. And it's something that like you could do it, but it's dangerous or whatever for you to do the whole thing. Like we'll do 1 rep and be like, that's my score. I did my 1, but then do the actual scaled thing within the actual Friday Night Lights that we do and make sure you're actually participating and getting a workout in. You're not just standing there waiting for the clock to go down 12 minutes later.
Yeah. So sometimes people will take that strategy, or maybe it's deadlifts followed by ring muscle ups or bar muscle ups. And you're like, all right, well, I can do the first like 10 deadlifts and I'll take my score of 10.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to carry on doing the scaled version, like for funsies. And like you said, just to get a workout in. So there's definitely some strategy involved in that.
For sure.
But I think there's something unique and special about the energy of the open and the extra little challenge of it, even though it's just a workout in your same gym with your same buddies that you work out with all the time. Something about it is different. And there's always this magic of the open that like people challenge themselves. There's always so many first pull up, first toes to bar, like PRs on cleans or deadlifts or, you know, heavy things, or people by just kind of being pushed or sort of forced into trying something a little outside their comfort zone. They have their eyes open to like, oh my God, I can handle that 35-pound dumbbell. I was fine. I can do those box jumps at that height. It was great. Like,
which is always like awesome in the moment, and then afterwards like, crap, I guess that means I have to do that now.
Now I have to do it all the time.
I have to do those weights now. Damn it.
Now I know how fit I am.
Yeah, it's definitely a magical time, and a lot of people are afraid, you know, they're like, oh, I can't do it. It's like, well, of course you can. Like the foundations version, they set it up so that if you've literally just started CrossFit, you could still participate. The foundations is like bare bones as it gets, you know, anybody can do it.
And it started from the COVID lockdown year because it's like no equipment, even you could do it at home
in their condo in New York that still wanted to participate.
Yeah.
So anybody can do it. And honestly, whether you want to like sign up or not on the actual open leaderboard, like just come in and participate in the open, you know, because it's no different than any other day at CrossFit. It's just that you have a buddy that you're working with who's going to like count for you. They're going to think for you. They're going to tell you what you need to do. You just have to go through the motions and do the work. And even though it's terrifying at first, it's no different than that first CrossFit class you do where you do it and you're like, okay, that was actually really fun. Like that was totally fine. So don't let it get in your head. Just show up and participate.
I love the Open because I love when someone else counts for me. That's my favorite. And I don't have to pay attention. Someone else has a clipboard and a piece of paper and they're keeping track and I just have to put my head down and work.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's my fave.
Yeah.
Just what you always wanted, a rep counter right by your side. So, the other thing I didn't mention, so we have age groups, but then there's also adaptive divisions, which they added a couple years ago as well. And there's a path for the adaptive athletes to qualify for the CrossFit Games too, which I got the opportunity to judge the adaptive division for one event at the CrossFit Games last year. So cool. So inspiring to see athletes making the best of all kinds of situations. There's divisions for lower extremity amputations, upper extremity, there's neurological ones, there's blind athletes, like all these things, and people just being so freaking fit no matter what, like really just like a no excuses kind of thing. It's super inspiring to see.
There's nothing quite as humbling as watching a guy with one leg or one arm deadlift more than me, who's perfectly capable of all of my limbs. It's so inspiring. It's crazy. It
is super cool. So I think they really, as the competition has grown since 2011, right, they've really tried to make it more and more and more inclusive. And it's an exhibition or a showcase of how fit CrossFit can be or how well it works for everyone. Young, old, adaptive athletes, everybody in between, brand new to CrossFit, very experienced with CrossFit. Like, it's just a cool chance to challenge yourself with the community.
Yeah. And with them doing the second phase now, they do the first online phase for like the masses, and then they do the second online phase for the kind of like top 10%.
I believe it's called quarterfinals.
Yeah. So that they've made it even more accessible because now instead of having to test some of those higher difficulty movements or heavier weights within the like Open, they save a lot of those things for the
second stage.
Yeah, the second stage. So you're not going to see something like a GHD sit up in the Open, though they would save that kind of movement for the second stage. So the stuff that we cover is going to be a lot more basic, not necessarily easy movements, but just the more basic common movements.
Yeah, the standard ones that you see in CrossFit. So if we do a little history, the first few years of the Open, there was, the first year it was 6 weeks. Yeah. And then something was technologically wrong and it actually ended up being 7 weeks. That was the worst. It was so long. Then they made it 5. For many years, it was 5 weeks. The feedback from the affiliate owners was like, oh God. And even the community is like, by the end of week 5, you're like, okay. Yeah. Your mental excitement about it is dwindling. So they made it 3 weeks, and it's been 3 weeks the last few years, and everybody loves that way better.
I think that's the perfect amount.
Perfect amount.
Yeah.
Originally, they would only release one version of the workout, and you did it, and almost all of them had time frame, like 20-minute AMRAP in 5 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever. One year, it was a thruster burpee workout with quite a lot of volume, and it was for time. It was the first CrossFit Open workout that was for time, and it had no time cap. So you either finished it or you took a DNF, you took a 0. So then it was like about a 10-minute workout, but some athletes that were trying to finish were taking 45 minutes to like an hour, like painfully stretching out to try to not DNF the workout. So then the next year they brought in workouts for time, but with a time cap. Yeah. Thank God. Because what's the Nooner's favorite line? What's the time cap? So then there was time caps. Then they started doing an RX and a scaled version of the workout where they went, okay, like we need to test some higher level skills to filter for the right people to make sure we have skilled athletes that go to regionals. At the time was an in-person competition. But they still wanted it to be available and inclusive and safe for everybody, right? Sure. They didn't want people that were attempting skills or weights above their safe upper limit. And then during the COVID year, they brought in, so they had RX and scaled and the foundations version, which was like, you could do it anywhere with like a water jug and a broomstick kind of thing. It was very much meant to be inclusive and accessible to anybody because there was various lockdowns and shutdowns all over the world. So now we have, as of last year, 2 years ago, this Open is 3 weeks. The top 10%, and it varies in some of the masters categories and age groups. It's top 200, I think. But a selection of the top athletes get invited to do a second weekend of basically the Open, another online qualifier that happens depending on your division in April. Yeah. So then that's where you'll see, like you said, the higher skill movement. So the last couple of years, that second stage of competition had handstand walking and GHD sit-ups and rope climbs and the more handstand push-ups, like the more high demand skills and heavier barbells, pistols, like all that kind of stuff. So you mostly now don't have to worry about seeing those things in the first stage of the Open.
they'll throw in things like a bar muscle up, right?
Yeah.
Or, you know, there's always double unders and burpees and thrusters and stuff. It's just never ridiculously heavy.
Yeah.
And it's never huge amounts of volume, or the workout doesn't usually start with muscle ups where you can't do anything. You know, it'll be like, if you're fit enough, you'll make it to the muscle ups, but most people don't. Most people get hung up on something else instead. They do make it very accessible.
Yeah. So like a nerd, I have a spreadsheet.
Of course.
A good spreadsheet of the common movements that we see in the open. So you're going to go, what should I expect? Like what's pretty standard for what's going to show up? So I made a chart from 2011 all the way across. Movements that we've seen almost every year, except for one, burpees, and variations of burpees. Burpees over the bar, burpee box jumps, burpee jump and touch things. Almost always a burpee.
Yep.
And what happened was one year there was no burpees. And then the following year there was burpees twice.
Yeah.
So on average, every year. Double unders, you see those every year except for last year. Actually, there was no double unders. We just looked in the open. Or no, there was double unders, toes to bar. We've seen every year except for last year. We're not in the open. It's a little different now with only 3 workouts instead of 5. So you see a little less. Chest to bar pull-ups every year except for 1. Some version of a muscle up every year, ring or bar muscle ups, sometimes both. Push-ups. One time, the first year. And then they went, well, that's horrendous to judge. And we're never doing that again. So sometimes you'll see them in the scaled division, but not in the RX. Thrusters, snatches, variations of snatches, barbell and dumbbell. Other things that are in there frequently, some kind of clean, power clean, squat cleans. Wall balls have been in there often, but not every year. Box jumps often, but not every year. Rowing, pretty much every year since 2014 was the year they introduced the Concept 2 rower. So standard CrossFit stuff, right? The core movements.
The stuff we do pretty much every week.
When you think of CrossFit movements, those are the ones that you see most often. So there's those ones that you can pretty much expect. Some kind of pull-up, some kind of muscle-up, snatches, thrusters, cleans, burpees, box jumps. Expect to see those. Be surprised if you don't, put it that way.
They do often throw in some kind of new movements, right? Like a surprise. Oh, we've never done this before. Like the last one was wall walks, I believe. And people are always like, this year's going to be the year of the bike. They're bringing in the bike, but the bike is not on the equipment list. So no fear. Like, don't worry. The bike will not be there this year. They have to warn people ahead of time if they're going to bring in some like crazy new piece of equipment. So all of you out there that hate the bike, don't worry. No biking.
No bike this year. So yes, like you said, in addition to the standard things, they often try to throw in a new movement, something unexpected. CrossFit loves the unknown and the unknowable. Somebody actually at the last seminar I taught asked the question, what's the difference between the unknown and the unknowable? And they kind of stumped us for a second. And then we were like, oh, good question. So the answer I came up with, tell me what you think of this. Okay. The unknown is like, we don't know exactly what the workouts are going to be, right? I don't know if the combo is going to be thrusters and chest to bar pull-ups, but I kind of know roughly the movements, but I don't know exactly. That's unknown. The unknowable is like some brand new piece of equipment or some brand new movement at the CrossFit Games this year. They did it was a wall walk onto a block to a wall facing handstand push-up to a different standard. That's unknowable. They literally had to make a new piece of equipment to do that movement. So that's how, I don't know what you would give as that answer.
It could also be looked at like on a broader spectrum, like the unknown are the things that like aren't known yet, but the unknowable are the things that like cannot be known, like you just will never know, you know?
But how's that apply to CrossFit?
I don't know. I'm just saying on a broader term. This is the English language version.
Yeah, true. And, Greg was always had a very almost poetic way of working with words. So he would say, CrossFit prepares you for the unknown and the unknowable. And you're like,
maybe he's just throwing random words out.
Maybe. But that was how that made sense in my head. Was unknown is like, well, we know kind of what to expect, but not sure in what combo and what time frame and stuff. And then unknowable is like brand new pieces of equipment, brand new movements, new standards, things we couldn't even have known, couldn't have predicted whatsoever.
Yeah, your definition is better than mine, but
well, I was just trying to think specific to CrossFit. So new things that have been added at various times. One year we saw pistols, right? A CrossFit movement, but that was the first time I was in the open. What else is on my wall walks? That was 2021. That was the new thing and it ruined everyone's world. Dumbbell snatches.
Sometimes it's as simple as like this time we're doing burpee box jump overs instead of burpee box jumps or whatever, right? There's always like small little changes. Be like, well, this is the first time we've done this movement, but it's not a weird movement that nobody's ever heard of before.
Yeah.
They rarely like, usually they do that kind of stuff at the games where it's like, surprise, we're doing double under crossovers. Like that's not going to happen in the open probably.
Yeah. And usually the new movement in the open, if you've been paying attention to CrossFit.com and their programming, if you subscribe to the email of the day, it's been in there. There's no surprises. They've been programming, wall walks there's videos of CrossFit wall walks on the YouTube channel back to 2008. Like it goes way back. So it wasn't a surprise. It's not a new movement. It's just new to the open.
Yeah.
But if you're paying attention, it's always in there. Bar muscle ups were first introduced in 2016. What else was new? Handstand push-ups first appeared in 2015. The Concept 2 rower first appeared in 2014. So those were things that were like new. Lunges was new in 2016. They introduced a max lift. They'd never done a 1 rep max anything before. We've seen it in 2015, 18, and 2021. So they've done that a few times. So, expect the common things. Oh, handstand walking was new in 2018.
Yeah.
Now you'll tend to see that in the quarterfinal division.
I'm going to throw something out there for all the like hopeful competitors.
Okay.
There's been a lot of like emphasis lately on .com with press to handstands. They've had like videos about it and like it's been showing up in some of the workouts and it's like in the 100 words, like
World Class
it's
Fitness in
old
100
school.
worlds. Yep.
Right. So I don't know, maybe get ready for that one.
Yeah. If you're paying attention, they are certainly giving you plenty of warning about that.
That wouldn't come up in the open. That is a very difficult movement. That would be a next level sort of thing.
Yeah. So you mentioned the equipment list. So now they let all of us, affiliate owners and participants, know about what we should expect to have on hand. Doesn't mean they're going to use every piece of equipment, but they're like, hey, here's what you're going to need to make sure you're prepared. So what's on the equipment list?
Official list, there's barbells, 35 and 45 pounds, standard bumper plates, everything that you would normally need. Dumbbells, 20 to 70 pounds. So that doesn't mean every increment in between. It's just like the lightest one you're going to need is a 20, then you'll need a 35, a 50, and then 70 is the heaviest one. And then same with the kettlebells. There's 16, 24, and 32 kg. But then they specify later that those heavier ones would not likely be used for the open. That would be for the later stages. So your standard 20, 35, and 50 pound dumbbell. And then kettlebells are new this year. We haven't seen those in the open. So we'll see if that is something they incorporate.
It's never been on the equipment list before even. So, and they're in kilos.
Yeah. And I think you need 2 of them too. So that could be like front rack lunges or who knows what.
Kettlebell deadlifts.
Yeah.
Lunges.
If it's deadlifts at that weight, that would be fine with everybody. So some light kettlebell deadlifts.
But then you can expect it's going to be a lot of volume if it's some kind of kettlebell.
400 kettlebell deadlifts. Medicine balls, 10 pounds is the scaled women's weight. 14 is the RX and scaled men's weight. And then 20 pounds. Plyo boxes, 20, 24, and 30 inches. Again, 30 probably for the later version.
They've done 30-inch box jumps a few times now in the quarterfinals.
Gymnastics rings, ropes,
standard,
Concept 2 rower, and pull-up bar, and then floor space and wall space are the last couple of things. So, the usual stuff that we all play with all the time. Yeah,
the new thing on there is
the kettlebells.
So curious to see if or when. There's been other times, though, that they put new things on the equipment list, and we didn't use it. So sometimes they like to mess with you a little bit.
Yeah. It's just that's the stuff you're going to need to participate. Be ready for it.
Wall space to include, but not limited to, wall walks, handstand push-ups, wall balls. Clear floor space with 25 feet. So over the years, they've done walking lunges, handstand walking increments, different things like that. They had a bear crawl, was a scaled version one year. Climbing ropes, that's been in the quarterfinals, 15-foot climbing ropes, and then a GHD.
Oh, yeah. I missed the last two on the bottom.
GHD setups a couple times in the quarterfinals. Yeah. So interesting what might be included. It's always fun to kind of speculate. Adrian Bosman's doing the programming now. So we're like, what's Adrian got in store for us now? Yeah. Okay. So we've talked about like who should do it. Everybody. Come have fun.
Everybody should do it.
Come have fun. All those nice photos that you see on our Instagram and our website, those are all Emma Love, our dear friend who's been photographing all you guys, making you look good for years, comes and takes a picture and you look all badass doing cool stuff and trying harder than usual. How to sign up, games, CrossFit.com.
Yeah. We've had people in the past say, hey, can you sign me up for the open? Like, nope.
Nope.
You got to sign yourself up.
Yeah.
It's not through us. This is not our idea. We're just participating in somebody else's competition. So it's games.crossfit.com. If you already have a profile from previous years, you just log in and sign up again. If not, create a profile.
And in there, you pick CrossFit BRIO as your affiliate.
Yeah.
And so then how that works. So yeah, people need to understand we can't sign you up. You have to do that. It's all through CrossFit HQ, the games website. They release the workout. We get the, scorecards and the standards. And sometimes we have to tape out things on the floor and get everything all set up.
Yeah.
Then when you sign up for a heat time for Friday Night Lights, usually we'll start at around 4:30, and depending on the length of the workout, run various heats and space and stuff, equipment requirements. In that heat time, you'll partner up with somebody, and one of you will do the workout first. The other person is the judge, and then we take a little break, and then you switch places. So you're going to take the role of both the athlete and the judge. So when you're doing the open or showing up for the open, you have to be well acquainted with the movement standards. You have to read the document. You have to watch the video. Every year in the open, I'm like, do not show up if you have not read the standards and somebody shows up and they're like, what's the workout? So you have a little bit of an obligation to yourself and your judge and the person you're going to judge. You have to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So you have to take 5 minutes to watch the little video and read the standards. That's all that you have to do. If you really wanted to acquaint yourself with the art of judging CrossFit, the judges course, we do it. I have to do it. We have all of our coaches do it, but it's $10. It's a worthwhile
it's good
course to put yourself through. It takes like between an hour and 2 hours to just acquaint yourself with CrossFit standards and what they look like. And they show you, here's a good squat. Here's not a good squat. Here's what you're looking for. Here's where to stand as a judge. For $10, it's a good course to help just understand the sport side of CrossFit a little bit more.
And obviously it's just like this whole process that we do on Friday. It's just for fun.
Yeah.
But it gives you a chance to have somebody's eyes on you and somebody be like, oh, that squat actually wasn't very deep at all. No rep, bro.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a good reminder, where we can improve. And, obviously nobody's going to take it super hyper seriously and yell at each other and whatever. But the part of the fun is seeing where you're good and where your weaknesses are.
Yeah. A little annual checkup, you might say. So then you'll have a sheet filled out with your score, and you sign it and your judge signs it, and you put it in a little basket, and then you submit your score on CrossFit.com. I can't do it. You can't do it. You submit your own score. And then I validate it. So you put your score in that you did it at CrossFit BRIO. You put your score in your judge's name. I get it on my dashboard, and then all I get to do is validate that happened at my gym. Yeah. So that's the role of the affiliate owner, is just to verify the legitimacy of what happened, basically. So, the role of the judges is to verify the legitimacy of the workout. Yeah. You're not in charge of being a cheerleader. You're not in charge of critiquing their technique or giving them any tips and pointers on their form. Yeah. It's not the role of the judge. Your role when you judge is just to make sure that workout was done in the right order with an accurate count and to the standard. Yeah. So the role of the judge is pretty straightforward. Yeah. It's not nearly as terrifying as you think it is. No, I just got to count. And you get paper and a pen. Yeah. You can mark things down. And that's, it's not super stressful having to count. And then we kind of float around and make sure that everything's happening to the standard that I need to validate. So if I'm popping over and I'm like, ooh, you got to no rep those squats. They're not even close to full depth, or that wall ball's not hitting the line. Sometimes the sort of head judge role of you go over there and intervene, just, to maintain the integrity of the whole competition. And then, then your name shows up on a leaderboard, and you can filter by all kinds of things. You can put yourself in a leaderboard with just you and your friends, or in Saskatoon, or in Canada, or male, female, in your age group, or all kinds of ways. And you can just kind of see where you stack up. Yeah. And if none of that appeals to you, you're like, I want nothing to do with a leaderboard, then that's fine. Just show up, do the workout, have fun with your friends, and just enjoy the process, because that's the most important part. Yeah. I do still think you should sign up. Yeah. And legitimately, it's cool to have a record year to year to look back and be like, oh crap. Yeah. Look how much better I did this year. Sometimes people are like, oh, do I have to sign up for the open? Would you say that you have received $20 of benefit to your life from CrossFit and everything that they've put out there in the world and created? And you're like, of course. Yeah. So this is the thing that you can do to support CrossFit, and all the benefit you've received from it is sign up for the open, put your name on the leaderboard, make it legit. Yep. So then in anticipation of the open, how do you get ready for the open? What should you be doing to kind of prepare?
the big thing is just showing up and doing the work, because year round we're preparing for the open. We
do CrossFit.
We do CrossFit workouts, and we're very authentic to the like values of CrossFit and the way we train. So all you got to do is keep showing up. But then we do a lot of repeats of previous open workouts, like leading up to the
January, February, generally.
So a good way is to pick one of the versions of that open workout that's listed and do that version and just tough it out and treat it like it's like, that's your only option. I'm either doing RX or scaled, and just see how it goes. And then if you know there's some holes that need some improvements, you know, you got to put the time in, right? Often what we'll do in a workout is you'll struggle with toes to bar. And so you'll just automatically switch to knee raise to keep the pace of the workout going. And that's great. If you're looking for just like getting a workout and, maintaining the right intensity, then that's fine. But at some point you need to put that skill work in. So outside of the classes in the open gym skill time, that's a perfect time to come in and do some sort of low intensity skill work. We don't want you to come in and do extra WODs. That's not the thing. You need to like focus on the skill. So whether that's spending some time, working on your kipping pull-ups or your handstand walks or whatever it might be, try to sort of like dial in those movements that if that comes up in the open, I'm not going to be happy. Like those are the ones you need to attack.
Yeah. And you're doing Thursday nights during open gym at 6:30. You're on hand to kind of help. Yeah. Not a formal class that you're running or anything, but just some tips and progressions so that you can understand from the coach's perspective how to build those skills appropriately, right? Like you should not be working on handstand walking if you can't hold a plank for 2 minutes, right? Like there's some base level stuff that has to get established first before you proceed to the more advanced level skills. If you try to skip a step, I always call that the snakes and ladders of CrossFit, is that then you just end up basically hurting yourself and getting punished, and your progress goes way backwards because now you're injured and you can't train things at all. So safe, proper progressions to get you where you want to go. Yeah.
So we're a few weeks out from the open, so we're not going to get much stronger between now and then, right? And that's not what it's about. It's about maybe refining those skills, refining those movements, and just getting a little bit more efficient and giving yourself a better chance to like perform when the pressure's on. So don't worry about doing any extra like lifting or any of that kind of stuff. We've been doing that all year long. We've been slowly getting stronger all year long. Like that's the point of the training. Now we just sort of, put some effort into refining skills and trying to like set ourselves up for success.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think, like you said, okay, so there's magical moments that happen in the open where you get very validated in your work. You're like, hey, I can do this thing now. That's so cool. I didn't know, because you kind of were pushed to try it. But then there's some benefit too to having reality slap you in the face a little bit. And if you're standing there staring at that pull-up bar and you cannot do a chest to bar pull-up and you're so fucking annoyed, good. Yeah. Do you know what you need to do with that feeling? You need to let that frustration and that anger and that fire fuel your training for the next year so that you're like, no freaking way am I going to be standing there staring at that pull-up bar, unable to do a chest to bar a year from now. Yep. You're like, I faced it. I saw it. My weakness was exposed, and I'm not going to let that happen next year. Yep. So even if you face something and you fail at it, you can't get it, good, right? You should have something that you can't do. The open always tries to put in something that most people can't do. For sure.
Or just something that's really difficult that kicks your ass, every year thrusters, right? Thrusters kick my ass. Every year I'm like, I need to like get better at thrusters. But no matter what, they always kick my ass. So it's just part of the process, is pushing yourself harder than you do on any other day, and, exposing yourself to that level of intensity that you sometimes skip out on. And it's a terrible and amazing thing to be a part of. Yeah.
And I think, if you keep that in mind all year long, we're like, I hate wall walks. I hate wall walks. They're stupid. We're like, oh, you want to like skip the wall walk workout. Or you're like, I'll just do shoulder taps today, when you're perfectly capable of doing wall walks and you're just not. Then it gives you that little longer term perspective. You're like, oh, if I skip wall walks every time they come up all year long, and then I plan to do the open, guess how my wall walks are going to go? Not good. Right? Where you're like, okay, I should like put the time in and do the work and challenge myself and make sure you've worked on that skill so you don't live with a lot of regret when the open comes
And it's not that most people are living for the open, right? Like a lot of people couldn't care less about how they do in the open, and that's fine. But the goal of CrossFit is not just to perform well in the open. The goal is to make yourself as fit and capable as possible. And if you have some very clear weaknesses that you're just avoiding, then you're not really being true to the improvement of like
the CrossFit methodology.
Yes. Yeah. So spend the time to actually go to those places and be like, okay, this is going to suck, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to get better. And like over time, it'll improve.
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone should do the open.
Yeah.
I think you should. And even if, so the 3 Fridays will be, I didn't write it down, February 17th, February 24th, and March 3rd will be the 3 Friday Night Lights.
Right.
Even if you're out of town, that's over the February break week, unfortunately. Almost every CrossFit affiliate you could find on the CrossFit.com affiliate map will be doing the open in some way or another. So if you have to drop in and go do an open workout with another CrossFit community, that's super fun.
Yeah.
I did one of the quarterfinals workouts last year in another gym while I was working a seminar with people I'd never met. I judged a girl I'd never met. She judged me. It was great. It was still another like bringing the global CrossFit community together.
Yeah.
Even if you end up doing the open with new friends in a new place, that's still a fun challenge because you can assume that like everywhere all over the world, we're all doing the same workout to the same standards. We've had people do open workouts like in Mexico and Hawaii and Arizona, like all over the place. Right?
Yeah.
So if you do end up doing that, take a picture and tag us. It's always fun to see where you ended up.
Yep.
And then I think we'll probably have, like, if you absolutely cannot make it on the Friday night, like a Sunday, like makeup time.
Sometimes we'll do like a Thursday night after the announcement. If somebody's away for the weekend or whatever, we'll let them do it. Or Sunday if you can't make Friday or whatever. We generally just request that you bring your own judge with you so that it's not on the coach that's already busy coaching and stuff. Bring your judge, be out of the way of whatever's going on, and just like, you know, do the thing.
Yeah. If you absolutely have to, you can do it during open gym times. The workout gets released Thursday night and has to be submitted. Like the score submissions close Monday night.
Yeah.
And then the time zone thing always messes us up a little bit in Saskatchewan, but you'll have Thursday to Monday. So hopefully you can fit it in there sometime within those days.
Yeah.
Get it done. Have fun. Put your skills to the test. Show up. High five your buds.
Yeah.
Try harder than usual.
There's often some post-open beers that happen on Friday Night Lights.
Bubbly water, beer, whatever you're into.
Do the near beers now. That's the new trend that everybody's jumping on.
The non-alcoholic beers.
Yep.
Yeah. So just come and put your skills to the test. Maybe you have some wins. Maybe you get humbled. Either way, you benefit.
Yep.
And have a good time.
Yep. Games.crossfit.com.
Sign up and we'll see you February 17th.
Right on.
All right.